Well, he did it. He's hiring Dr. Oz and the wrestling lady, Linda McMahon. Oh, my goodness. Remember when Donald Trump endorsed Dr. Oz?
We've endorsed JP, right? JD Mandel.
Okay. Anyway, Trump is hiring Dr. Oz to lead the massive Medicare and Medicaid agency, CMS. CMS, as reported by CNBC, operates or oversees healthcare programs that provide coverage to about half of all Americans. Think of that. Dr. Oz will be overseeing the programs through which half of Americans get healthcare. Those are Medicare, Medicaid, and the Children's Health Insurance Program, as well as the Obamacare marketplace exchange, healthcare.gov. This is absolutely outrageous. Now, if there is any good here, it's that all of these programs, for the most part, relate to mandatory spending. And I know that this is a very low bar, but the saving grace we have here is that at least it is statutorily designated that there's a whole bunch of things with these programs that Dr. Oz is just not allowed to mess with. Now, I want to remind you about some of Dr. Oz's ideas. One of them was 15-minute physicals at a festival sort of thing. He can probably explain it better than I can.
Now, when you go home today, what should you do? I think you ought to think about 15-minute physicals. Your local hospitals will fund these. They're incredibly inexpensive to run. You can screen thousands of people for almost nothing, and you allow a conversation to take place in more of a festival-like setting. It's not scary. And I mentioned earlier that almost everybody who comes to our 50-minute physicals has a job, but a lot don't have insurance. Give them a way of crawling back out of the abyss of darkness, of fear over not having the health they need, and give them an opportunity, because they don't have the right to health, but they have the right to access, to a chance to get that.
There you go. They don't have a right to health, but what about a festival with 15-minute physicals? Now, I'll admit, getting people any physical is better than none. I'm not, so cynical that I just want to oppose that in principle. Any physical is better than none. But the idea of people don't have a right to health and the best we can do is a festival where people get 15-minute physicals. This is the guy who's going to oversee the programs through which half of all Americans get health insurance. It's not good. Also remember, during the heart of the COVID pandemic, when Dr. Oz said, we might be able to reopen schools with only a 2 to 3% additional death rate. Yikes, that doesn't sound very good. But Dr. Oz said it was appetizing.
Dr. Oz, help us. Well, first, we need our mojo back. Let's start with things that are really critical to the nation, where we think we might be able to open without getting into a lot of trouble. I tell you, schools are a very appetizing opportunity. I just saw a nice piece in The Lancet arguing that the opening of schools may only cost us 2 to 3% in terms of total mortality. And, that's any life is a life lost. But to get every child back into a school where they're safely being educated, being fed, and making the most out of their lives with a theoretical risk on the backside, it might be a trade-off some folks would consider. We need to get industry back, supply lines. Things.
Yeah, I don't know if Dr. Oz's kids would have been in that likely 2 to 3%, but that's not sounding so good. And then finally, we can't move on without the crudité fiasco. This was Dr. Oz during his failed Senate bid, attempting to buy groceries and show how expensive, I guess, everything is.
Thought I'd do some grocery shopping. I'm at Wegner's, and
By the way, I've never heard of Wegner's. I know Wegmans. I looked up, is there a grocery chain called Wegner's? I didn't find it. I just want to hear it again. I don't think he knows where he is.
Thought I'd do some grocery shopping. I'm at Wegner's, and
yeah, he says Wegner's. I couldn't find no evidence of such a grocery store.
My wife wants some vegetables for crudité, right? So here's a broccoli. That's $2.
A broccoli.
Not a ton of broccoli there.
Sounds like I will have one marijuana, please. Here is a broccoli.
There's some asparagus. That's $4. Yep. And carrots.
By the way, I've never seen asparagus in a crudité, but maybe that's just me.
That's $4 more. That's $10 of vegetables there. And then we need some guacamole. That's $4 more.
Huh.
And she loves salsa. Yeah, there's salsa there. $6. Must be a shortage of salsa.
Guys, that's $20 for crudité, and this doesn't include the tequila. I mean, that's outrageous. And we got Joe Biden to thank for this.
Yeah. Now, of course, you could just buy a crudité. You could just usually they have these pre-made in trays, so you don't have to do it this way, Dr. Oz. But you might be asking yourself after this revelation of Dr. Oz being hired by Trump, is Trump's administration just going to be TV hosts? And the answer is, to a great degree, yes. Trump doesn't read. Trump's understanding of the world comes from what he watches on TV. And this actually should be really instructive to us more generally. People who read might say, how are these people even considered for these roles? And it's because Trump does not read. There is no greater center of intelligence and expertise than what Trump happens to stumble across on television. Trump was president 4 years. I'd bet he doesn't know how NATO is funded. I don't know that he knows the difference between Medicaid and Medicare. And we know he still doesn't know how tariffs work or how French fries are made. So you have to understand Trump's worldview is informed by TV and entertainment. That's why he picked Dr. Oz, and that's also why he picked this next selection. Well, I wrote a book after a long journey and a ton of work. I am really thrilled with how it turned out, and I hope you'll read it. The book is called The Echo Machine, and in a nutshell, it looks at how American politics got so broken, who has already figured out solutions, and how we can try to fix it and stop the terror of Trump for the next 4 years. With Trump winning this election, The Echo Machine couldn't be more relevant, not only a warning about how we got here, but also about what might be coming and how to prevent the worst outcomes. We've got to stay engaged. We need a plan, and that's what the book is about. There's a belief out there that unless you have corporate media behind you, you can't have a successful political book launch, that it's not possible. I think we can prove that wrong. Order The Echo Machine today at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, anywhere that books, ebooks, and audiobooks are sold. You can also call any local bookstore and say, please order me The Echo Machine by David Pakman. Wherever you get the book, you'll get the free pre-order perks, including the signed book plate. Head to davidpakman.com/free book stuff after ordering.